Alright, so I'm back, and today we're going to take a look at some Marvel Legends. We've got a few of them to look at here. So this is the Bonebreaker wave. I'm just trying to find something here real quick, of course. There we go. So this is, like I said, the Bonebreaker wave, or at least most of it. There's two figures right off the bat you'll notice that are missing. The Wolverine with the stupid red glowy claws. I didn't buy it. You didn't need him for the set, and therefore I didn't need him to finish the thing, or finish Bonebreaker. I have a Wolverine, so I didn't need another Wolverine, especially one that I didn't really care about. So yeah, I just kind of skipped him entirely. And then the other one I skipped was Vulcan, because that's a character I just don't care at all about. So again, why buy a figure you don't know anything about, or don't want to know anything about, or don't care about at all? So yeah, we've got all these guys. I have my thoughts on the Bonebreaker figure, which we'll put together here at the end of this. I'm just trying to get stuff together here, and we'll look at all these guys like individually as we go. But there it is. Just was looking for all the little pieces for Bonebreaker. All right, so yeah, we're gonna take a look at these guys, briefly. Right off the bat, you can see that the Darwin and the Havoc figure look like... No, Havoc's a little bit thicker. Let's see which one. I believe the Havoc shares a similar body to the Spider-Man. No, that one's still a little different. I don't know. Maybe the Darwin? No, they're different. Different fit molds, I guess. Yeah. So similar, real similar. But still, yeah. Let's take a look at these guys individually, and then we'll kind of go into what my thoughts on this wave is entirely once we're done. So we're gonna get these guys out of the way. I've got some stories that I can tell too that could be slightly entertaining with a couple of these figures. So we'll save those two for last. It's the Havoc and the Sabertooth. So we'll start off with Siren. So this is the daughter of Banshee. And I'm telling you guys right now, if it wasn't for the fact that I needed her to finish the Bonebreaker figure, this figure would not be right here right now. And same with the Darwin, same with the Maggot. It's just, and it was just cheaper to buy her at Walmart than buy the individual piece. So her head's on a ball joint. It doesn't quite fit in there very well. So it's got this pretty big gap in there. I don't know how well that's showing off. So that doesn't look very good at all. And it's on a swivel, so it won't go down any further. Shoulders, universal up to there. She's got this... It's like tint type material here. So rather than actually using soft goods, it's almost like a cheap plastic good. So no, it's not a good quality thing. So it really makes me not really want to invest money in the Banshee when he finally comes out. So yeah. And the way it sits in there, it kind of poofs out. It doesn't really want to move with you very well. So I think it looks awful. I think it just looks awful. And even worse is the fact that, it's like, you can tell that you're seeing the green here that's on the backside only because it's seeping through the yellow. So it's like, I would have liked it if they would have done it on both sides, at least. That would have made it look a little bit better. But anyway, arms articulate, bicep swivel, double bend elbow, wrist swivels, hinge in and out. She's got a ball jointed torso up at the top here. Hips up to there, back to there, out to the side, thigh swivel, double bend knee, ankle rocker and tilt. This tilt does not work at all. It's totally gummed up, and I feel like if I keep putting too much pressure on it, it's just going to rip off. So, and then she does have detachable hands. She comes with these little hands. So she got those. For a figure by herself, I give this a 2 out of 10. It's not a good figure. It's not built well. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. It's your typical Hasbro pile of crap. There's nothing here that's incredible or decent. So, all right. Next up, we'll look at Darwin, who is much the same. It's nothing here is like, oh man, this thing is great. At least the paint is good on this, because he's got he's got the darker blue here that goes into the purple, and then a lighter purple. It's a subtle difference here, but there's a lighter purple here. He's got that weird bug-eyed head, and that ball joint, again, it just doesn't quite fit in the head, so you kind of get this gappage in between the neck and the head. They need to do a little bit better there. So it's on all the ball joints, so you get around, and it's also got the hinge, so you get all the way down to there, all the way up to there, side to side, a little wiggle, all that works pretty well. There is a butterfly joint, universal for shoulders, out to the side, bicep swivel, double bend elbow, wrist swivels, hinges in and out, ab crunch, waist swivel, hips up to there, back to there, out to the side. The best range there. Thigh swivel, double bend knee, foot rotates down, up, and rocker. So, he functions better than Siren, by far. Everything on him works fine. He's got these hands here. I don't remember this from the comics, but he seems like he's got some really big hands, so I don't know if that's just how the character is. So let me know in the comments below if you remember that. If he's supposed to have some really big hands like this, because they're just kind of weird looking. And these outstretched hands seem to be bigger than definitely they're bigger than the fist hand. So I don't know if that's the character. It reminds me a lot of Skin more than Darwin, but I don't know much about Darwin. Is he somebody I recommend? Not really. If you're a huge fan of the character, you're not going to be disappointed with this figure. But he does nothing for me and nothing for my collection. He ain't even going to get put on the shelf. He's going right into a tub and never looked at again. So I would probably give him to be fair, I'd probably give him a 7 out of 10. The figure itself is good. There's not much about this figure that I don't like, except for the big hands, but I just can't remember if that's the character or not. If it's not, then he gets a 2. So only you guys can answer that question, because I'm not going to bother looking it up. But he's going to fit in that shelf if that's what you're looking for. He's going to fit that shelf just fine. At least the figure functions on Siren. So yeah, he's decent, but he's just gonna go in a box for me. It's just if he wasn't part of the wave, I wouldn't have him. And then next up, we'll take a look at Maggot. So now he was in Generation X for a short time. He's got these big maggot things that they're not really maggots, are they? More like a centipede, but yeah. So he can hold this. You can have it up on his shoulder. I wish, and this would be just too much for the cost. But I wish they had like a little magnet in here and magnets on him that you could just like click him onto or something. And then he's got this one here that's kind of curled, so you can kind of get him into different poses. However you want to do. So yeah, that's its accessories. They function what they're supposed to do. So he's got some crazy looking eyes. They did a great job with that. So I gotta, it is a character I don't know much about, and I don't really care about. I wouldn't have picked him up if it wasn't for the fact that he's part of the wave. But I gotta give him credit where credit's due. The face on this guy is fantastic. It is great. I really like the face. It's, they knocked that out of the park. Head is on the ball joint, and hey, look, it actually seems to fit in there a lot better than the other ones. Down to there, up to there, little bit side to side, and left and right. All that works fine. He's got this softer rubber cloak or jacket, sleeveless jacket. I think that's the best way to do it. For stuff like this. Unless you go into the good soft goods like Mafex does. These are just kind of glued on so they get out of the way. And yeah, you definitely want to keep them on. So up to there, around, they do get caught up there. Bicep swivel, little paint chipping on the yellow, and they probably could have done another pass of the yellow over this dark blue. Looks like it's kind of coming through there. But bicep swivel, double bend elbow. That works good. Wrist swivels, hinges in and out. Looks like they probably could have done another coat of this red color here on the arm. This little cuff. But hey, at least that cuff's not a free-floating piece of plastic. That's nice. Alright, we got the ab crunch down to there. Back to there. Waist swivel. It's got the floaty belt. Hips up to there. Back to there. You can get them further back if you go to the side. Out to the side. Thigh swivel. This joint does seem a little on the looser side. Hinges at the knee. Boot swivel. Ankle rocker or ankle tilt, and the rocker. So he's one of those that's like more so than the Darwin, but it's like he's a B-list character, but they really went all out on the figure. So I give them major credit there. I'll give this figure 8 out of 10. I think it's a pretty solid figure, and if you're a fan of the character, you're going to be happy with this. It's one of the better. It's one of the better ones I've looked at in a while. So yeah, he's fantastic. It's one of those. I'll probably, if I have more space, for sure. But at some point I might do a Generation X shelf, and you definitely get a place on there. But it's a pretty solid figure, so I would definitely recommend him. So, all right. Now, let's do the Bonebreaker real quick, and then we'll do the Havoc and Sabertooth, just because I've got more stories with them than I do with Bonebreaker. So, let's see here. Here's all the parts. I haven't actually put them together yet. So I think this goes over here. Yep. And then we grab the head and we pop that on. And looks like I'm going to need some super glue to glue this into place because I hate when I hate those free floating plastic that just kind of just get in the way. So while we've got him here, we could take a look at articulation. So head's on the ball joint. So you left, right, up, down, glasses will move out of the way. Fantastic looking head sculpt. That's just great. Zero issues with this so far. Shoulders out to the side, around. It seems a little tight. There we go. This one works a lot better. So it just needs to be kind of broken in. There it goes. There we go. Bicep swivel, double bend elbows, wrist swivels, hinges up and down with the trigger finger hands, and in and out with the fist hands. And then we'll just put this one on because he's only got one gun, so yeah. And then he's got the ab crunch. All that works good. And then I believe this will plug into here. So there's your waist swivel. And then we can give him his gun here. So this will just... And there is his gun. Alright. Now. Alright, so this I believe goes in here. This will come in here. And then we can take this and slide this in here. And there's a flat piece this way, and there's a flat piece on here, so that probably goes this way, actually. Go. And we take this, and this will just plug around. Why won't it close? Is this on backwards? Yes, it is. Let's try that again. There we go. Alright. So we got the extra hands here. Get those off to the side. Nothing rolls, so he's just gonna have to sit there. And then we got these little tubs here, or canisters, and they just plug onto the back. I guess we would want to do this way, maybe. And there you go. Pretty good figure. This will rotate here, just on a ball peg. Doesn't roll, like I said, but you get a lot of movement and character out of this guy. Especially with that face. That is just fantastic. So as a Build-A-Figure, I'd give him like a 5 out of 10. Because, you know, you have to spend so much money on this wave to get this guy. If he were released, if you had a standalone release like those deluxe ones that are like $35 to $40 or something like that, I'd give him a solid 10. There's really nothing about this figure that actually is that I'm upset about. Everything about this figure works just fine. It's great. It's the fact that he's a Build-A-Figure that bothers me about him. You know, I would gladly spend $35 to $40 on this figure as a standalone. And quite frankly, it seems to be that's where it's going. I touched on this briefly before, where a lot of these build figures are getting individual releases, and you know, I think that's the way of the future for Marvel Legends. You know, ditch the Build-A-Figure piece in the box, and let's get more accessories for the figure that you're buying, and then we could just focus on making good figures. Like Maggot is a good example of this. You know, I still got 2 more figures to look at, but Maggot's a good example of this, where he's a B-list character, but they put everything into making the figure. The figure is a knockout figure. This here, he's a secondary. He's not even a secondary character. You know, he's so down the list. You know, he's just part of the Reavers team. You know, he's so down the list. He's so unimportant, but it's because they put their all into the figure that makes it like, you know what? I'd be happy to pay that kind of money for this figure. You know, Maggot would be one of those figures where it's like, you know, now looking at it, yeah, I probably would pick that guy up just on its own, just because it's a good figure. But when you have to buy an entire wave to build this figure, you know, with a Wolverine that I don't want, you know, who needs another Wolverine, the Vulcan character who cares, Darwin, again, who cares, and Siren, who's a crap toy. It's just not a good figure. Maggot is a major B-list character, and Havoc in his black costume instead of the blue costume. It's like everything in this wave is so subpar with choices that it's just like, that's what bothers me about these Build-A-Figures. It's like, I don't want to have to pay, you know, let's see, 20, 40, no, they're 25 now. That's 50, 60, you know, 50, 100, $150, $175, something like that for the whole wave, and end up with a pile of junk. You know, I can't do it. I can't justify that. So, as a Build-A-Figure, not a high score, but if he was a standalone, I'd probably give him a solid 10. I think it's a pretty solid figure. Alright, now, Havoc. Alright, so this is Havoc in his black outfit. So he does come with these hard plastic little blast effects. They're not very good. And so what you do is you got to take the hand off and plug them in around. And it's just, I mean, it doesn't really hold on. I mean, it's on there. It's coming off, but it doesn't really, like, it just, I don't know. It doesn't stay in place. And then it's like you can, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with this. This is just awful. This is stupid. It'd have been cool if it had like a smaller peg for his foot so it can have like kind of a pseudo display base. You know? I don't know what they're doing anymore. I can't remember if he came with other hands too. If he did, I lost him. Because that's how little I care. Head is on the ball peg, kind of out there. The Silveradus crest is just does silver plastic, so it doesn't look good. They could have thrown some paint apps in there. The face sculpt is decent, but it's out of, like, they didn't do a really good job painting it, so up to there, down to there, a little side to side, left and right. Pretty good backwards butterflies anyway. Forwards pretty decent. Shoulders up to there, down to there, all the way around. Bicep swivel, double bend elbow, wrist swivels, hinges in and out. Ab crunch, waist swivel, hips up to there, back to there, out to the side. Thigh swivel, double bend knee, boot swivel, rocker, and tilt. So, do I... Now, when I was collecting the old Toy Biz, like before Marvel Legends was a thing, I had this guy because I saw him as a... Because they had the one with the blue suit with the jacket from the X Factor team from the animated series. And then Toy Fair had a exclusive Havoc repaint of the Spider-Man Daredevil figure. And it was in this black costume, and so I picked that up. I really liked it. It was really cool, especially since it was an exclusive, so it was kind of hard to get those things at the time. So it made me feel special to have something rare. So this figure kind of scratches a little nostalgia itch for me because of that, but I mean, they could have done something with this figure. It is so plain. I know his costume's plain, but they could have done some shading in the black, like Mayfex did with their Black Suit Spider-Man. I don't have that one in yet, but I've seen videos on it where it's got subtle, like, dark blue shading to it. Just a little hints here and there to kind of break it up. A different head sculpt would have been great. Like I said, I can't remember if he has different hands, but if he doesn't, more hand sculpts would have been great too. There's other things to do other than just a straight black figure. They could have done something more, and again, it's like it goes into that whole Build-A-Figure thing. Like, if he didn't come with the pieces for the Build-A-Figure, they could use that money for the plastic or whatever and done a couple little extra something for him to kind of just give him, like, I want a grin face, like where he's grimacing. I want one of those. Like, that would have been cool. Like, he's really, like, struggling with the power. And like a silver crest. I mean, seriously, there's just no excuse for this, just being a straight black figure with tiny bits of paint. So I give him a 3 out of 10. Alright, and then the last figure, this is the one that actually I saw it at Walmart when I was on vacation, and I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't know, Marvel Legends, I'm just not so sure. And I just kept thinking about it, and kept thinking about it, and kept thinking about it. And finally, I'm like, I've got to get this Sabertooth. I have to get this Sabertooth figure. It's a must. And it has nothing to do with the figure or whatever. It has something to do with, as a kid. So as a kid, I had... This was my Sabertooth for a long time, which is this version of the Sabertooth. Just... Obviously, this is a much better version of it. And this one had this weird, like, flip thing where you can see the claw marks from Wolverine. So it's like, this was the Sabertooth I had for years. And then I had this figure. This was the second one I had. Second Sabertooth I had, which is the Captive Sabertooth. So I like that one. And then finally I got this one. And while this is the one from the cartoon and most popular costume or whatnot, it was just like, mostly because this guy was small and this guy was a little bit bigger, but this guy was huge. But to go from here to here to here was just kind of a bummer in my head. Like, man, I went from this big figure to this little figure. I'm going back to this guy. But for a long time, this was my Sabertooth. Was this one in my collection. You know, when I was playing toys and all that stuff. So this is this one. And that's why I was like, man, I think I need to do it. So I did glue the fur down because it was just on, it's just on a little peg, so it comes off real easy, and it just kind of, yeah, it's obnoxious. But head is on the ball joint and swivel, so down to there, up to there, left, right, little side to side. The way the hair folds back, like I could tell that ball joint's not all the way in the head. So it's actually got a bigger gap than any of the other ones we've looked at. But because of the way the hair sits, it doesn't bother me because it works great. Head sculpt is fantastic. And it's like, okay, look at this. You know, they've got like the gums painted, the teeth painted. There's a little bit of a gloss in there on the teeth to kind of make them shiny. Eyes are painted with the little cat slit eyes. He's got washes in the hair. I mean, it's great. The fur around the neck, that all has a wash in there. Also on the wrists and the feet, or boots, those all have like a really nice wash on them. Looks great. Either wash or dry brushing. I think it's actually just like a darker, kind of off brownish color, and there's a white wash in there. It works really well. The only thing I would say is an eyesore on him is the fact that he's got these orange elbow joints going into the fur, so it's kind of like that is a little bit of an eyesore, but that's what I can live with. So, ab crunch back to there, forward to there, waist swivel, shoulders, disc ends, so up to there, down to there, rotates around, bicep swivel, double bend elbow, wrist swivel, hinges in and out. He's got the fingerless gloves with the claws coming out. Looks like they could have done another pass on the skin tone, clean that up a little bit. That's a little bit of a mess. Thighs out to the side to there, so not a huge range. Up to there, back to there. Bicep swivel, double bend knee. Foot, no boot swivel. It might be in there, but it ain't working. Tilt just a little bit, and a good rocker. So, posability wise, he's actually pretty good. So yeah, for this guy, I give him a solid 10. I think for price point, I think he's great. Especially if you like this version of the Sabertooth costume. Which, I mean, of course I do. I do like it. It brings back, not only does it bring back nostalgia like the Black Havoc does, but it's a great figure like the Maggot. So it's the perfect combination. This is where they need to be operating, and I will continue buying a ton of their figures where they're hitting these characters right. They're doing a great job in the paint department, articulation department, but at the end of the day, for my shelf, when I do the when I actually put them up on the shelf, this is all I'm getting out of this wave. The rest of these figures are going to go into the boxes. I don't have a lot of space for subpar characters and subpar figures, so yeah, these guys are it. Of all of these figures, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 figures 5, the bill of the figure plus 5 from the wave, and I skipped 2. Of all of those figures, only 2 are going to actually get put on the shelf. And, yeah, hopefully we'll get some more Reavers. But, yeah, that's all I got for these guys. It's a cherry pick wave. I'd say see if you can just buy the Bonebreaker on eBay and get the Sabertooth. That's pretty much all I would say for you to get, because that's all that's really good in this wave. Again, I would have rather had that Sabertooth solo without any Build-A-Figures with a few more options. Maybe different hands. I don't know what else you would do with those hands, but maybe different hands, or maybe a wash on that orange would have been nice, or maybe some blood splatter on him. That would have been cool. Maybe a different head, but he's great. I really like the Sabertooth. I'm very happy with him, but the rest of them, whatever. And the Bonebreaker, he's pretty good too. Again, and it's like, if he would have been, at that higher price point, maybe they could have done a wash on the green or something, or maybe some, like here, they've got a little bit of dry brushing of the metal for battle damage, but it's just so little. But again, they make that look awful on the Transformers when they do it. So maybe that's a bad idea. But, a wash or something, or maybe some paint apps on itself. I don't know. Anyway, I guess that's really all I got. So yeah.